Well, that didn't turn out how I thought, and my camera's crooked, but I can't redo that intro now. Hi, Mr. Man here. Great, it's still crooked. The story of my life, crooked cameras. It's a running joke now. Just deal with it. I figured I'd turn on the camera and just kind of talk a little bit about a hobby of mine that some people might know that I'm into, and that being knives. Surprise, surprise, Mr. Man's into knives. I know. Oh, by the way, this is my first one, so, you know, I'm not completely wasted. But, specifically I want to talk about butterfly knives. Don't know why I want to talk about them. I just figured, hey, shoot the breeze. I got time. I'm on vacation. I got all week. So, me and butterfly knives go back a very long way. And by a very long way, I'm talking about back when I first started getting into knives. So, the way this worked out. Okay, the first knife I got was this. The Victorinox Swiss Army Classic, the SD Classic. You know, you got your blade. This one's been heavily used. It's all gunked up and everything. Ugh. But this is pretty much the first knife I ever got. I had like a, it was like a K-bar camping set before that. You know, it had like the knife, the fork, and all that stuff, all that fun stuff. But this was pretty much the first knife I actually got that was actually a knife. And I remember getting it for Christmas. And I remember telling my brother, I was like, oh, I hope I get, like, you know, I remember referring to this as, like, a tactical knife. I mean, that was stupid back then. I still am now, but, you know. But anyway, so this is pretty much the first knife I got. But that was back when I was, like, I don't know, it was back in, like, 2007, I think. 6 or 7. So I was, like, how old would I have been? I was probably only, like, 12, 13, maybe. I can't do math. Hang on. Let me have some more of this so I really can't do math. I don't want to be able to do a single math equation by the time this is done. I just remembered. I don't know if I push record. That's a problem. I hate checking the camera, but I did. Good. That's like a problem that I had back in my old days of using an iPod to record. I haven't had that issue in a while. I just need something with a flip screen, and it'll solve all the problems. I'm just kidding. You won't. I'll still have bigger problems. Anyway. So, first knife I pretty much got, back when I was age, I don't remember the age, but then we moved here in 2009, like Thanksgiving 2009, I believe, and I had seen Cold Steel catalogs before, like, or we had, like, a Cold Steel, when they're DVDs, you know, they're high-quality knife porn videos, and really fun stuff, you know. They had one, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's like the Nightshade, I can't remember exactly. And then they had a Recon 1 with the old, like, rip-off Axis lock. Like, you know, the old ones, like, you know, Benchmade Axis lock type lock. It was like a knockoff. Actually, thinking about it now, I don't know if Benchmade had their Axis lock at that time. Huh. I'd be curious to look into. I don't know. Now Cold Steel's changed to the Triad lock and everything, which I don't have the Cold Steel around here. But I like the Triad lock. It seems pretty sturdy. You know, don't have any issues with it. But, anyway, so, you know, I'd seen knives before in the tactical knives, and I thought, eh, cool, but I didn't give them much thought. And then moved here, more kind of a rural area, our neighborhood wasn't too built up, and there were a lot of dogs just, like, running around like crazy. So my brother had this brilliant idea to buy a knife for self-defense against dogs. Now, in retrospect, that's a really stupid idea, but I followed suit. And the first knife I got, like, first real knife that I got was a Cold Steel Kobu. I should have brought it so I could have show and tell. I better not be getting the sickness everyone has in the house. Like, everybody just keeps getting sick, then they get better. Then, like, someone relapses, and they get sick again, and they relapse. And I'm like, that's because we have a whole army living inside this house. It's like everyone's breathing each other's air. I'm like, this is not how, no. I feel like a sardine. Anyway, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, so, did I say Cold Steel Kobu? That was the first knife I bought. Because literally, I, like, went online, and I found nothing fancy. And that was, like, the first, I think it probably was the first knife video. No, I think I looked through a Cold Steel catalog. I saw the Kobu, and I'm like, hey, that's a cool knife. That's probably, you know, that's the one I want. At that time, I thought knives are good for self-defense. Now I realize it's not really, they're like the ultimate last ditch that you want. Oh, and if anyone was wondering, not that anyone cares, but just feel like I have to put it out there for all you safety Nazis. And now that I said Nazis, I'm getting demonetized and getting banned. So, But I'm not carrying right now. I do have my mags, but I'm not carrying, okay? I'm not an idiot. Okay, now, knives and alcohol don't necessarily mix, but, I mean, they're not guns, and if anything, I'm just gonna cut my finger. Anywho. So, self-defense, where we going with that? Don't remember, don't care. So, I bought a Cold Steel Cobham, like, nothing fancies. I looked in the Cold Steel catalog, I was like, Cobham's the one I want. So I looked up a couple reviews on it, saw Nothing Fancy's video. That kind of got me started in the whole YouTube knife type community thing, and you know, my love for knives just blossomed from there. But anyway, make a long story short, I got Cobham. I carried it around a little bit. Not a good idea. That's a bad idea. And I was, how old was I? I was probably 16 about. I was kind of young to be carrying a knife. After I turned 18, I really didn't care, because I'm like, hey, you know, I'm an adult. And there's, like, no age law in Michigan, but it's a little iffy. And plus, thinking back, I'm carrying a fixed blade, that big, a little bit iffy. But I did it just a little bit. Like, I didn't carry it religiously, because it was uncomfortable. You know, uncomfortable being to carry a fixed blade around all the time inside the waistband. I couldn't really find a decent way to do it, but I did it. And really quickly, I learned, hey, I need a folder. I need like a decent folder, something that's not this big ass fixed blade that's gonna like scare little ladies. So I started looking at folders, and for some ungodly reason, I figured out that I needed a butterfly knife as my first folder. And this was the first one I got, the Bradley Chimera 2. Let's see if we can do this. I should have like cool shots of me opening up, but you know, my skills with butterfly knives are very lackluster, to say the least. They're terrible. I know 3 moves. Well, you saw them all in the intro. Every single move I know is in the intro, except like the quick draw, I believe. But basically, there's the, anyway, we'll get into moves later. But, so, Chimera 2 was the first one I bought. Did some research, wanted a Benchmade 51, Benchmade 42, and realized, hey, they were like discontinued at the time, and they were pretty expensive, but, you know, it was a little too much for me, and I didn't want to track one down, so I heard the Chimeras were really good. About 80 bucks. I think I paid for it off of Blade HQ. No, Blade Ops. Bought off of Blade Ops. Really nice knife. Decent and solid. I mean, this thing's a solid knife. A little bit heavy, though. But so I bought this, and I actually carried it around for a little bit. If you notice, the problem about a lot of butterfly knives is that they don't have pocket clips. So you're literally, and I gotta pull all of this garbage out of my pocket. Like, I got all this stuff because I can't put this in my pocket with everything. So no pocket clip. So it's sliding right in there. Now you have a knife just free floating in your pocket. You grab it, you don't know where it is. You know, you gotta, how do I open up this thing? You know, so there's a lot of uncertainties that, you know, come with carrying a butterfly knife or a battle song. We should refer to it as a battle song because that's the better name to refer to it as. But I mean, when have I been known to refer to stuff by its correct name? I mean, a lot. I do kind of get a little stickler for that every now and then. But so after that, I realized, hey, you know, battle songs aren't the best type of thing to carry for, because I still have the self-defense mindset, which, like I said, I changed way later. You know, where it's like, nah, these knives aren't. What the hell? Oh, that's just that. My bracelets, my demon slayer bracelets. So this first one here got 3 sets of 6 red beads, and then this one has 13 skulls. I know I'm kind of crazy, but hey, it's cool, and you gotta do what you think is cool. I mean, I guess. I mean, don't be like a poser, but don't like hold yourself back because you think people will judge you. this YouTube channel proves it. Anyway, so yeah, I learned really quick that butterfly knives were not a good knife to carry. So then I got a Spyderco Endura, and then I realized, hey, I can't open this fast because I didn't have down the dexterity to flick a knife open. I didn't have the confidence to do that. So then I bought a SARC Aegis, and then after that, it's just history. I just started buying knives left and right. I mean, it's like there was no stopping me. But in that whole knife journey, like, let's see, that started in like probably mid-2010, I'd say, when I started actually buying knives. So it was probably somewhere around like mid-2010 I actually bought the Chimera. And then I didn't buy a single battle song since then. The only battle songs I bought were like butterfly. I think like 2 butterfly combs from Bud K, which they sucked. I don't know if I even have them anymore. I mean, they were terrible. But yeah, I never really gave battle songs a second thought. I thought they were cool. I thought it'd be fun to learn some moves and some tricks on them. But I don't know, at the time, like, it didn't seem like there was this big. There was a community around them. Like, Cut Rover had a ton of videos. There was it Night Zoid? I can't remember. There was another guy that did a bunch of flipping. But the amount of battle songs you could get that were decent quality, like, there were a lot of cheap ones out there. We'll go into cheap in a second if I can remember to talk about it. But you could buy like ones for like $20, $30, but they were iffy quality, and then the good ones were like, you know, the Benchmade 51s, which were like upwards to $300. The Model 42s. Like, now there's a lot of other companies that make battle songs. Like, I don't even know all the companies. I mean, but there's some good ones out there. Microtech makes battle songs now, which, I mean, that's pretty cool. I almost bought one of those, but didn't really find a color combination that kind of spoke to me. But yeah, so up until like last week, I only had one battle song, the Chimera. I had a bunch of folders, a bunch of spring assisted, some fixed blades, but never another battle song. And finally, it was my birthday, because I'm old, and I picked up the Benchmade 51, which I made kind of a video on this. I should do a full review. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and get back into battle songs a little bit, because it's a style of knife that I really like, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. We're going to give you a close-up of tabletop, because I know everyone wants to see that, because they're like, I don't want to see your face. Yeah, you don't, whatever. Story of my life. But the battle songs offer a lot of disadvantages, but they offer a lot. I mean, like, a pretty, like, significant advantage over every single other folder that you'll ever find. And we'll explain that in a second. I don't know why I said second, because we're probably going to do it right now, because I ran out of stuff to say. Alright, got this nice laptop that I've been using for, like, years. My boss keeps telling me to buy a gaming computer. I'm like, nah, boss, not going to. Well, I don't need a gaming computer. So, the battle songs I have, got the first one here, the Bradley Chimera 2. Really nice, stainless steel handles, stainless blade. I mean, you know the drill. It's a heavy knife, but it's really good flipper. There are guys that are masters with these things. Second one we have is the Benchmade 51 Morpho, which I've wanted one of the original ones for a while. I just held off getting them because they were kind of pricey. Then I saw this Blade HQ exclusive color, which is just completely sick and wicked. I mean, if you can see when this focuses, because I need a better camera, because I'm just bitching about not having gear when I actually have the money to buy it, but I just don't. That blue in there, the blue and the green. This isn't a zombie green type color. It's more of like a... it's not quite olive green, but I'm trying to think of something that it would be close to, like, Suicide Squad box, anyone? A little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I did watch Suicide Squad. I mean, I was hammered at the time, so I don't remember much of it, but I mean, it was kind of entertaining. But compared to, like, the Warren Thomas Baby Bushido, this is more of like a lime green compared to that. But anyway, and then my other butterfly knife or battle song that we have is actually a Boker Trainer. This guy was about 20 bucks. So, I guess we'll go over the quality as far as, like, price points go. I have not actually handled a cheaper battle song, except, like, at a gun show for, like, 5 seconds. So, I can't speak as to, like, flipping on them, but I do know for a fact between, like, let's say this is $20 and this is $80, there is a huge leap in quality. So, for instance, on the Boker, the best way to describe... Now, the Boker's not bad, and I'm running out of battery power. Oh my god, my camera's going to die on me. We might have to switch. We might have to switch cameras in a second. We'll try and do this fast. We'll speak fast. Anyway, on the Boker, it's a little more rattly. So your latch is a little bit more floppy. You got a little bit of play. You need some play in your handles. It's about as much play as that has. But now in the Benchmade... Oop, come on. Handles are a lot more tighter. The latch is not as rattly at all. And this is actually a spring-loaded latch. So, what I mean by that is when it's closed, if you squeeze a knife, it comes popping open. That's the only battle song that I had that has a spring-loaded latch. I know there are others on the market, and I think some mods that you can do to, like, the Chimera. but that's the only one I know that you can actually buy. I mean, there's probably other ones now. You know, I've been kind of out of the loop for a long time. And then on a Kimura, you got yourself a little bit of play, very minimal. And you can, ooh, almost cut myself there. That would have folded, that would have cut me. You can tell when you're flipping this and then you switch to like the Benchmade, it just feels more solid. Even though Battlesong knives are floppy, like that's the best way to describe them is floppy. Hang on a second, I need a wet mouth whistle. Even though Battlesong knives are floppy, you can still tell a difference in the quality, like between a, you know, obviously a Benchmade 51 and a Boker, you know, one of the cheaper trainers. I'd assume that this is the same quality as like a cheaper knife, how a cheaper one would feel. It'd be nice to go to like a gun show and buy like one of the $3 Widowmaker Battlesongs that are going to fly apart. One nice thing about this trainer, though, is that it is actually pinned. No, not pinned, sorry. Torx or adjustable. You want adjustable pivots on a Battlesong because you're doing a bunch of flipping and the knife handles are opening and closing. Those screws could back out. I mean, if you Loctite them, they're not going to back out as much, but if it's pinned, your knife's going to get some play in it, and you're not going to be able to fix it. And that's an issue if you're actually a serious flipper. For a light user, or you're just going to buy it, flip it like for a day, yeah, I don't see where it would be that big of an issue, but a good quality Battlesong is going to have adjustable pivots. Definitely it will. As far as materials go, I personally don't feel like that a Battlesong needs to be made out of anything specific, unless you're going to be using it for actual cutting tests. So a cheaper knife, you know, the blade might be like a 440, you know, 440C or whatever, you know, for the blade. The handles, though, you might, that actually could be a problem, because I know some of the cheaper Battlesongs with the pot metal handles, I've seen them crack in half before. So that could be an issue if you're flipping and your knife just cracks in half, or if you drop it. I mean, that can come from dropping a lot. Anything, if you take care of it, chances are it won't break. I mean, one of these could break in half, you know, but something like the Kimura, all stainless, you know, that's going to last you a long time. You know, I think the Microtex might be titanium. If you get a titanium handle Battlesong, going to last you a long time, but it's going to be more. You know, you're talking between like, you know, $30, $40 maybe for a cheaper Battlesong, and then you're talking maybe upwards of a couple hundred for one that's of good quality. But the good quality one's going to last you. That's the thing about these. The more you pay, the better you get. And I believe that with Battlesongs from handling a couple of them. Obviously, I'm not a flipper, or a really good flipper. I suck. I know the basic, like, scary movie and, you know, opening like everyone does that they screw up in movies. Just was it the double rollout? Whatever, it's that basic opening I showed. And that's all that you need. Disadvantages of Battlesongs, though, is that they take a lot of dexterity to open up in the simplest way. So the simplest openings take so much dexterity, and there's so much of a chance. I mean, this knife just flops all over the place. So you have such a high chance to cut yourself. Okay? If you don't know what you're doing, and if you're trying to use it, let's say, for self-defense under stress, you're basically screwed. Because there's going to be no way you're going to have that much of a... I mean, even pulling out a folder, you still need to find a thumb stud and flick it open. That takes quite a bit of concentration. An automatic, that's like the only automatic I got down here at Cheap Ganzo, you still have to find a button and push it. That's simpler, but you still have to pull a knife out of your pocket and find that button. I just feel like there's a lot better options out there for self-defense than a knife. For something like this, you're almost better off just using it as a Kubotan. Just like hitting like that. That would be very effective. I mean, I feel like it would be anyway. But that's kind of a big disadvantage of them. And that most of them don't have pocket clips. This Benchmade does have a pocket clip. But the way you pull it out, you almost have to flip the knife over in your hand and then, you know, open it that way, because it's kind of funky the way that, you know, it's on the bite handle, but you should almost be on the safe handle with the way you pull it out of your pocket. This is kind of a little thing, but you're not going to be pulling them out to open up really fast. I was talking about the material. So as far as blade steel goes, like the Bradley, I can't remember the exact steel it has on it. It's some sort of stainless, but like the Morpho or the 51 actually has a D2 tool steel. So that'd be a really good cutter. That'd be a heavy user. And as far as heavy users go, now these have a big advantage as far as what I'm going to call it end of the world knife. Now you might be wondering, Mr. Man, what the hell is an end of the world knife? Well, an end of the world knife, in my opinion, is something that will take the least amount of maintenance and be able to serve you extremely well. So an example would be a fixed blade. Okay, a fixed blade doesn't have any moving parts. Okay, so if you lose your sheath, you can basically make a sheath out of anything. You know, just take a piece of rag or whatever, make a sheath for your knife, put it on your belt, you're good to go. A folder like this, you know, pretty simple, basic folder. You know, if you get dirt or gunk in there, you know, you might have an issue with the lock not either locking open or closed. And if you get it too crudted up, you might have an issue even opening up the knife. So there's really no way that you can pry this blade open if like there's an obstruction there, let's say, for instance, or if it gets rusted. I mean, if you want to take care of your knife decently in a situation like that, but if it gets rusted in there for some odd reason, it's going to be hard to open this thing up. Another example would be, let me see here, I get this back in my pocket, turn up these pockets now. Damn it, why is my phone ringing? Luckily it's no one I care about. I don't even pick up the phone here anymore, because, you know, they want you, they can call my cell phone. This is zero tolerance. This might be like, oh, it's an end of the world knife, you know, it's cool. Yeah, but talking about a lockup system here that, you know, you get debris or something in there. If you don't have this over travel, you could bend your liner out of shape. There's just a lot of stuff that could happen. You know, these pivots could get kind of cruded up. You know, there's really not so much of a way to brute force them open. And even another big thing, a automatic is even more susceptible to that. You get gunk and stuff in that button. You're pushing that button and it's not opening. You can't pull this blade out. It's stuck in the handle there, son. You ain't opening that up. But, and I know this for a fact, because I've actually handled one of these, a Balisong, because of the way these work, there's pretty much no way that they can follow up on you. I mean, maybe your latch, okay, you know, whatever. But there's not going to be a chance that you're really going to get debris stuck in there that's going to prevent your latch from opening if it has a latch. And then as far as, like, even if this is pretty much rusted, you could still brute force this guy open, you know, and get it to open up. It's not gonna flip really easy, but you can still brute force that guy open. And if I can find it, I'm gonna roll in some footage right now of a knife that my grandpa actually had. I think it was during World War II, and I'll roll it in right now. So see, it's all beaten up. It's missing the handle scales here. It feels like it's kind of made out of brass because the handles are really heavy. Still has a latch that works, but it won't really, like, it won't flip. Like, you really can't. I mean, it's pretty gummed up in there. But as you can see, even with it kind of rusted and like pivots all gunky there, if it'll focus, it's just like pinned together. Pins aren't even in line with each other, but you can still brute force it open there, and it would still work great as a knife. I mean, lock it open. Basically, have yourself a fixed blade for the most part. So even if these guys, even if they get kind of gunked up and beat to hell, you can still open them. That is the biggest advantage that these have over any other knife. So as you can see, it doesn't flip, but you can still open up. Even though it's like rusty and old and, I mean, stuff missing on it, you can still open it up. So that's an advantage that these have over pretty much every other knife, every other like tactical knife. Even though in like a stressful situation, they're not going to be your number one choice. In a apocalyptic end of the world scenario, these I feel like would outlast a folder just because of their simplicity. And if for some ungodly reason, let's say you lose a screw, you could almost put a makeshift, like put it together in a makeshift way, like find another screw that's close to the size, put it in there. You could get the knife semi-functional, you know, and almost do field repairs on it, whereas a folder or an automatic, you know, it's going to take a lot more. Here's a little Emerson CQC7. There's a lot more fine. Oh, now you really can't see this because this is black. But you have to make sure the lockup's right. You don't overextend that bar. There's just a lot more involved with one of these guys versus something like this. It's so simple. You have two basically bars that are pinned to a blade, and they rotate. I mean, they don't really get more simpler than this. I mean, other than a fixed blade, in my personal opinion. I know right now you're probably thinking, hey, it would be hilarious to see Mr. Man try and flip some Balisongs right now. while partially inebriated. Well, I'm not even really buzzed right now, which I mean, it's kind of funny, but not that it matters. But I do have to close these guys, and this is part of the video where I cut myself and start screaming like a little bitch. But let's hope not. Oh, got one closed. Oh, got two closed. We're gonna go for a third. I mean, this one's a dull trainer, so you know you can do all sorts of fun stuff with this. Oh, no, something else I forgot to mention. Trainers. Some people don't like them. I think they're actually pretty good because when you're dealing with something that does this, you're dealing with inertia. I found that your brain, at least my brain, let's turn that light down a little bit. It's probably a little bright. I found that my brain doesn't deal with inertia well. Like, it thinks the knife's going to do one thing, and it actually does something completely different. So, exactly the same as getting this camera straight. Now it's crooked the other way. Why don't I just give up? I should just give up and quit. I should kill myself. No, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to say that because now that triggered someone. I'm joking. Living is too much fun. The inertia on these things, it's nice to have a dull trainer because then you can actually get a hang for what the knife's going to do. But the problem is, this is a little bit more to the weight of, let's say, the Chimera, as far as weight goes. Something like the Benchmade, which is G10 and titanium, is really light. It's a premium, sexy knife, but it's a little bit lighter than my trainer. So doing moves on the trainer, then trying to transition over to a lighter knife can be a little odd, but you at least have down kind of basic physics, and you don't have the risk of cutting yourself. But I personally recommend what I do is I'll play around with the trainer quite a bit. You know, I'll just be like watching, you know, Fear the Walking Dead or something. You know, I'll just be like, just playing around, trying, you know, a move just constantly, you know, just over and over again, you know, just trying to get it down. You know, see, I screwed up there. But I just get the motion down, you know, kind of do it just, you know, free like that. But then, like, when I'm done playing around with my trainer, I'll do the move on the actual knife, just to keep up the confidence level of, hey, I can actually do this on an actual knife. You don't want to get too comfortable using a trainer, because if you do, when you go to transition over to a real knife, your brain's going to be like, whoa, okay, this is a real knife, we're going to watch it. And I found personally with me, when I go from a trainer to... And of course my camera died. Now I'm trying to use my iPhone, and it's about to die. I have like 20% power left. My life sucks right now. Anyway, so I was saying about using the trainer. Oh yeah, so I was like completely lost my train of thought. When you switch over to the live blade, you're almost a little more hesitant to do the move, and you don't want to give it, like, I find that I don't want to put as much of the momentum into it, which is completely wrong. My beer's like right in the way of the camera. Let's move that sucker over there. I don't want to put as much force into the move, which is actually a bad thing because a lot of moves, that, like I said, they use inertia. When your inertia ain't going, your move ain't going, and you can hurt yourself. Like if you're trying to do some, like let's say if you were going to do an aerial, you have to give it that spin, you know. And if I mean I don't do aerials, I'm not that stupid yet. Yet is a keyword. If you're doing an aerial, you need to give it that full spin. If you're afraid of putting as much force into it as you have to, you're going to hurt yourself. Or like another move that I'm hesitant to doing is when you're doing like the, well, let's see if we can get this here, like the basic opening. That point, you know, oh, actually, hang on a second, I'm doing the wrong one. You go over, down, and when you go up, I'm a little hesitant of doing that with a live blade because I feel like if I let go, this thing's gonna get me. So you have to have respect for a knife. At the same time, you almost have to view it as a trainer, which is kind of a weird way to view it, but view your live blade almost as your trainer blade, because if you're able to do the move perfectly fine in the trainer, and if you have, you know, if you're actually paying attention, you know, hey, you know, I'm being safe with the trainer, like you still kind of treat the trainer as a live blade. Like this is still the edge, okay, and you don't touch it. Well, I mean, I'm doing it right now, but when you're flipping it, if it touches you, you realize, hey, I made a mistake, let me fix it. Don't just, oh, it's fine, it's not a real blade. View this as a real blade, and then view your real knife almost as a trainer. It's kind of backwards logic, but it kind of helps a little bit. It'll let you do a little, and I would do like the twirl on a real knife right now, but Heineken tells me not to. I ain't stupid. So, that's a little bit of my philosophy of butterfly knives. I mean, hope you found this entertaining. If not, leave a dislike. I don't care. I mean, dislikes are fun too. But, yeah, if you have any questions or comments, I mean, not that many people do. I'm not a butterfly knife aficionado, but I am a knife enthusiast. And butterfly knives are part of that knife family. And I thought, hey, you know, I'm gonna get into them a little bit, you know, have a little fun with them. You know, probably not get good with them, but just have a little more experience. I might buy a couple more now, just some different styles, some brands, you know, just to kind of get a feel for them because they're not bad knives. And like I said, as far as like a sturdy knife goes, they're pretty much top of the line next to a fixed blade, in my personal opinion, because there's less stuff to follow up. Like you could dunk it into mud, and you'd be fine. So, hope you have a good day and stay safe. Rattly Bracelet, old man, is out. And I'm going to do something on the rest of my vacation. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do.